Mr. Birdie, members of the board, we do have several items for board discussion this evening. Our first item is the August 6th board meeting. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Birdie.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Again, we're going to visit this subject of our board meetings until we are through this pandemic. And so as this evening, Mrs. O'Neill and I are in person, and Mr. Begley and Mrs. Gundram and Mrs. Shorter are remote because we're allowed to do that according to the law passed. But I just want to discuss what our upcoming thoughts are about the August 6th board meeting and what people would like to do, and so that we can make plans for if we need to be all remote or if we need to move it from our smaller venue, which is right now scheduled to be at the FAB, in the conference room. So I'll open it to the floor for discussion.
I am so happy, first of all, to see like all of you. I'm so happy. I know you can't tell that I'm smiling, but I'm smiling. But I do feel like this space in general gives us a little more, we can see each other a little better than in the FAB. So I would be in favor of maybe moving here.
Okay.
And then, I don't know who, you know, as far as who's virtual and who's in physical. But I feel like this space kind of provides us a better environment. But I personally am so excited to be here.
Okay. Other comments?
I tend to plan to attend in person August 6th, and like Mrs. O'Neill, think it might be best if we meet there at the Milligan Center.
Mrs. Shorter, Mrs. Gundram?
Yeah, I am definitely more comfortable with the larger rooms. I'm just looking at the setup now. And so with all 5 board members, would we still be able to maintain social distance?
Could
I guess
we-
we'd have to.
Could we
we'd have
move
to
further out?
I think we could move some of the leadership staff off of the dais and to tables so that all the board
Okay,
could
so we're
be.
bumping you out. We're bumping you guys off.
I'm fine to bump out. I'll bump out.
If they
I'm
want to
fine
stay up
bump
here, they have
out.
to win an election, so.
Okay. Well, I'll have my super duper enforced mask, but I'll try to be there in person.
Okay. And we're not committing to that right
Right,
now, we just want to get an
right.
idea.
Yeah.
Mrs. Gundram?
I also hope to be there in person with the mask on. And I definitely would feel more comfortable distancing in that room than in the smaller FAB room.
Okay, so that leads us to a couple of decisions we have to make. First of all, we need to see if this room is available. So if Mrs. Lane, if you could check on that for us. And if it's not, we would need to, I think it would be good to move to a different location other than the FAB. But I think we also should, this be a good time to discuss about the public or?
Yes.
So when do you feel that we should start inviting the public back in? Now, obviously, August the 6th is a work session, so there's no public comments. But should we allow the public to come back in if we can provide a safe environment for them to be social distanced? What's your feelings on that?
I personally feel like yes. I mean, the public is crucially important, and as long as we can provide social distancing that's appropriate, I love when the public's here.
Other comments? The only thing I would say is I guess we'd have to work out with the health department as far as would there be a maximum capacity
yeah,
we
I
could
can see that.
have
Yeah,
in this room? And then,
just like stores.
right.
Yeah.
And then if there is a maximum capacity for this room, if it's not large enough that we don't think it's large enough, should we then try to schedule a different area? Or do we also then need to have an overflow area? And I don't know what that number could be. It could be 15. I mean, I have no idea. But if we could look into that.
Yeah, we can look into that. I'm thinking about, I definitely will follow up with them.
Okay.
I think that their response may be that if you are social distancing and wearing masks, then you can have, the number of folks that you can have in here while doing so. I think that will be the response, but I will definitely double check with them. And then another venue we've been using for a lot of meetings has been our freshman school auditorium, because there are plenty of seats in there for the general public if people showed up. So that would be another option that we could choose. So.
And Mr. Birding, I mean, this is a big room. So I think of, as a parent, I think of, okay, my kid's in science class. This is larger than a science class. So I think it's important for parents to see that the public can be, we can socially distance and wear a mask and be close, and that's appropriate, just like it will be when your kid comes to English class or science class or all that. So I think it's important for them for the general public to see
Yeah.
in a space like this.
And of course, anybody that comes into our facilities, we are requiring them to wear a mask.
Sure.
So anybody from
Sure.
the public that would want to come to the meeting would have to wear a face covering.
Sure.
So. Okay, so I guess, Mrs. Lane, Mr. Smith, you have some homework to do. Our August 6th meeting will be attended at this time in person by the 5 board members. And if you could then let us know the location, and I guess then you'd have to notice that in the newspaper or all the media outlets that you need to notify. And then we'll put that, if we can have Mrs. Gentry Fletcher put that on our social media where that's going to be, that would be great. And then later in announcements, I will just make note of that, to be determined, location to be determined. Okay, well, thank you all very much. We so look forward to having everybody back together again. I think that we've been running very smoothly remotely and also as a hybrid model. I think we've been functioning very high, but of course, you know, we all get along very well and we are very high functioning, and I can't wait to have everybody back in the same room again. It also makes a pledge a lot easier when we're all together. So
That it does.
so thank you all very much for participating in that discussion. Okay, the next item, Mr. Smith, for discussion.
Yes, our next item is Fleet and Vehicle Maintenance Service Agreement. I'll turn it over to Mr. Penny.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I have one item this evening for discussion involving our fleet vehicle maintenance agreement. We are currently at the end of a 5-year contract with Bureau's Garage. This company maintains and services our motor vehicles, lawnmowers, and other similar equipment. I am proposing we continue our relationship with Bureau's Garage, entering into a new 5-year contract. Bureau's has provided a high level of quality service, extremely high level of quality service. They always meet our needs in a timely fashion and arrive on site very promptly to emergencies. For instance, it's very rare, but if there is a bus accident or something like that, they are one of the first people to arrive on site. Their staff is. They also maintain our buses very well, and they're safe on a daily basis. It's not just because an inspection's coming or a point inspection's coming from the State Highway Patrol. We feel very confident in the service that we're getting from them and that our vehicles are safe on a daily basis. And we don't have a whole lot of problems with breakdowns, and that's because of that quality of service that we're seeing. And then due to our long-running partnership, they understand the intricacies of our operation, which a 4-tier large transportation operation like we run is very complicated. And they also understand the legal requirements that go along with maintaining the school buses. So the annual cost for the proposed agreement will increase our current cost by $26,000 per year as part of this contract. So from 2020 through 2025. This is the first increase, though, we have experienced since 2015 as far as annual increases go. And like I was saying, will run us through 2025. We believe that even with this increase in cost, our district are receiving a fair price for the service, which is high quality level, like I said. And I know this is the appropriate direction for us to go for the next 5-year period. So There will be an item for board action this evening on the agenda regarding approval for this contract. Any questions? Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Penny? Here, thank you, Mr. Penny.
Thank you.
Smith?
All right, our last item for board discussion is related to some board policies, and at this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, Mr. Birding, and members of the board. There's really only one policy this evening that I have for you. It actually is listed as two policies, but it's the exact same policy that's listed in two places in our documents. It's listed, the AFC-1 is listed under School Board Governance and Operations, and GCN-1 is the exact same policy listed under Personnel, so people can find it in either location. The state of Ohio has been working to change its requirements for teacher evaluations. We had something called OTES, the Ohio Teacher Evaluation System, and they've revamped that, and they've come out with OTES 2.0. And so I've been working with a group of administrators and teachers for a couple of years now through our MEC committee, our Member Evaluation Committee, to kind of determine how this system should go into our school. There are a lot of intricacies. You had a lot of choices of what you wanted to do. And so we came up with a recommendation. We shared that recommendation with the bargaining team. It was bargained. So this policy is now being changed to reflect what happened in bargaining and the recommendation of the committee. Originally, OTES 2.0 was set to begin with the 2021 school year coming up. But because of COVID and a lot of school districts weren't able to complete their work, they've given us another year that we can use our former evaluation system. However, they still require that the policies be in place and that it be a part of the bargaining this year. And so there are some changes here. Most of it is staying the same. The changes I'll highlight here for you very briefly. In the old policy, 50% of a teacher's evaluation was based on a rating, a student growth measure. And the new policy removes the student growth measure, and 100% will be based on the rubric and the performance that administrators find out by doing their observations and walkthroughs. There's also a new component added that every year we have to report to ODE, not teachers' names, but what colleges and universities prepared the teachers. The state is trying to track which schools that train teachers do the best job of training teachers. So if one school or college or university always, or a large number of teachers have low ratings, then they want to address that with the colleges and universities. Another piece that's new is there's something called high-quality student data. This is kind of replacing that old student growth measure, but instead of it being a separate 50%, it's built into the evaluation itself, into the rubric. The rubrics changed. The standards have changed. There aren't as many standards. The standards are listed in our policy, but they've been reduced and revised. The high-quality student data that I just mentioned, there's definitions that you have to reach for to be high-quality student data. And this committee that I've been working with is in the process and has in the past outlined exactly what we would accept as high-quality student data. It's now expressly prohibits the use of student learning objectives, which has been something we've done for the past 5 years. And the amount of autonomy that a teacher has in preparing their annual goals and professional growth plan, that's been changed as well. So we've tried to bring it up to date. This policy, it was provided by OSBA, but we had choices within the policy of what we wanted to customize our policy to be. Mr. Clemens reviewed it as well. I'm open to any questions you might have on the new teacher evaluation system. Once again, the policy needs to be in now, but this will not be in actual operation until 21-22.
Any questions from the board? I'm just curious to see what this, how many pages it will be once all the strikeouts are.
Right. Yeah.
Because it
It'll be
was,
shorter.
There's a lot
it
of
was like so hard to
strikeouts.
follow and reading, like, okay, it's
Right.
stricken out.
Yep,
Well, great work on this. That was a lot.
thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Martin.